Show it is 6 o'clock, so we're going to go ahead and call this regular meeting of the Charter Township of Garfield Board to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chris, I should have had a door prize to see if anybody noticed.
I know. The new flag.
The new flag.
I
And we
spy
have our
something
new
green.
flag this year. So, not the American flag was new a while ago, but the other one is new today. So,
I spy something.
Grand Traverse
all right.
County?
All right.
Build.
Township?
Anyway, Ann, could we have a roll call, please?
It's like our logo.
Schmuckel.
Here.
McCumber.
Here.
Lapp.
Here.
Al McManus.
Here.
Gustinelli. Here. Korn.
Here.
And Jane McManus.
Here, thank you. All right, first item on our agenda is public comment. We have public comment at the beginning and at the end of each meeting, along with any other public hearings that may be scheduled. So here's your first opportunity to come forward and let us know if you have anything to say. I do not see any public running forward, so we will go ahead and close the first public comment and move on to the review and approval of the agenda. And if anybody has any conflicts of interest, now would be the time to state those.
I'll make the motion that we approve the agenda.
Support.
Motion made and supported to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consent calendar.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted in parentheses on the agenda is approved by a single board action adopting the consent calendar. You have the minutes from March 24th, 2026 regular meeting. Recommend approval. Bills from the general fund, $507,127.67. Recommend approval. Consideration of Veliket MU/N rezoning request, introduction and set public hearing for May 12th, 2026. Recommend approval. Consideration of Dunn R1 rezoning request, introduction and set public hearing for May 12th, 2026. Recommend approval. Consideration of request to write off unpaid personal property taxes for years 2018 through 2020. Recommend approval. And State of Michigan Revenue Sharing Report, receive and file.
Thank you. Is there any items that anybody from the board would like to have removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda? Any items staff would like to have removed and placed elsewhere? Anything anybody in the public would like to have removed? Seeing none, a motion will be in order.
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent calendar as presented.
Support.
Motion made and supported to adopt the consent calendar as presented. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, Ann, could I have a roll on that, please?
Gustinelli.
Yes.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Lapp.
Yes.
Korn.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Al McManus.
Yes.
Jay McManus.
Yes, thank you. The next item is correspondence. Chris, was the road commission in our packet, or was it?
It should be under correspondence.
Yep.
Okay, all right, so they were not going to make it. Sounds like they're pretty busy this evening anyway. They might not have made it if they were on the agenda tonight. So, yeah. So we'll move on to reports. And first is the assessing department report.
Good evening, Holly Cairns. I had the assessing report in the packet, and it has a lot of information in it.
It does.
So, if you can't sleep tonight, you can start, and by page 2, you should be asleep. I do actually usually like to start with a little bit of trivia, so I did a little check on our database, and I found that our smallest residential cottage was built in 1950 with approximately 320 square feet, and our largest building for residential is 9,000 square feet, also a house, and they're all located on Silver Lake.
Huh.
So just kind of some neat fun facts. So we had a good year, a lot to do. Things went well at a board review. We weren't especially busy, but we answered a lot of phone calls when we got the notices out. We got them out early. We try to do that each and every year, so people have plenty of time to look at them. I want them to come in if they have any questions or give us a call. It's really a great opportunity for them to actually see kind of what we do and understand some of the processes we go through. Does the board have any questions on the report? I can see you've all read it.
Tried.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Billy.
Thanks, Polly. Okay, next up, our county commissioners report.
Good evening, Lauren Flynn, District 2. First of all, I want to extend my heartfelt condolences to the Syke family. We're all thinking about them and hold them close to our hearts. We did hear this week from East Bay Beach District Planning. So it was very interesting. A lot of supervisors showed up. Thank you, Supervisor Manis, for sharing your support. Great conversation, great presentations from both Claire Carner and Supervisor Friend. We really came to a great discussion to the end where we did vote today to opt out, just pass that with the resolution, but we're coming back to the table to negotiate a few projects and clean up both our plans, because we need to clean up our TIF policy and the plans. But they already presented this morning a public comment about a lot of the work they're already doing to get that plan more organized and ready to go. Treasurer update. We have heard from the treasurer both last week and this week. Sounds like recognize blah, 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 blah. You know, can you say that word?
Reconciliation.
From 2025 is good. It's got to get caught up for 2026, and also township tax assessments need to be and all that great stuff. So we're really keeping an eye on it. We're pretty frustrated, but it's going to, fingers crossed. He did state that it should be all set by the May 13th meeting that we'll be holding, so we'll be getting another update then. 911 surcharge increase, we approved that today. That is important because that surcharge goes to the 911 portion of Project Alpha, which also has groundbreaking at 4 p.m. on Friday, if you want to come and see them start that great project. This also strengthens emergency response capacity and ensures services meet current and future demand. And here about the assessing, we did approve the equalization report today. A lot of Greek data. It was actually really interesting so I hope it doesn't put you to sleep. I hope you did read it, but great information coming out of Garfield Township. And that's what we've done. Any questions or concerns or anything I can answer for you? All right. You know how to reach me. Have a great one.
Thanks, Lauren. Appreciate it. Move on to the Sheriff's Department report. Roy?
Good evening, Roy Rasko with Grand Traverse County Sheriff's Office. The March stats for Garfield Township included 87 citations that were issued, 12 injury accidents were responded to, 66 overall car accidents, 8 OWI arrests, and then 60 criminal complaints, 60 arrests, criminal arrests were made. For the quarter, 221 citations were issued. There was 1 fatality in Garfield, 35 injury accidents, 219 property damage accidents, 19 OWI arrests, and then 160 criminal arrests were made. And then I asked some of the CPOs for some of their cases they've been working on the last month, and I only got a response from James Hunter. So a couple of the cases that James has been working on, he made a traffic stop the other day, and the guy claimed he was a sovereign citizen, refused to identify himself. So James, in a couple of the Garfield Township cars, extracted the gentleman from the car, and he was charged with resisting arrest, suspended driver's license, no insurance. And then James was also working a case where someone had left a cell phone at a hotel room. Well, James, of course, everything he touches turns into something, and it had some criminal child porn on the phone, so James has been doing some search warrants, trying to figure out who the phone belongs to. Another case James was working on the other day, they were chasing a guy around from the hotel at South Airport and 31 South, and the guy had left feces on the front lobby counter, pepper sprayed the staff, and then James found him running around over by Best Buy. And he was arrested on multiple felonies. And then James is working on a breaking and entering of a garage where a gentleman had stole a gas can, and James has since linked him to several other crimes. So James has been busy, and I know the other guys have too, but he was the only one who responded to me. So, any questions?
Any questions for Roy?
Thanks, Ray.
South Airport Road is closed now, or will be closed by the time this meeting's over. So county roads will have it shut down at Logan's Landing. I don't know.
Use your airboat to get home?
There was cars turning around because it was pretty deep.
Not deep enough.
Tried sinking our airboat, probably. And that's for indefinite. I don't know what, hopefully they'll do a PSA tonight.
We're supposed to have more rain tonight, so.
It was certainly Sunday and last night were obviously record-breaking. I don't know, do we have a total of, do you have any idea how many inches of rain we got?
Anywhere from 2 to 3.5.
Yeah, I would say that's,
Just over the last 36 hours.
Right.
7 since Sunday.
Wow.
sounds about right.
And as the weather warms up, I'm sure the guys will get the bikes out and continue to be busy. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roy. All right, GT Metro Fire. Welcome, Tony.
Good evening. I feel like I don't get to come here anymore. I think I know everyone on the board except Lori. I don't think I've formally met you. I'm Tony Posey. I'm the Assistant Chief for Grand Traverse Metro Fire Department. Couple things on statistics. I apologize. We were kind of out doing some evacuations all day on River Road, so I last minute got some of the report here. Total calls in Garfield Township, 405. Total of 566 in Metro as a whole. A majority of those calls in Garfield Township, medical in nature, and again, that's usually about 75% of our calls. So 217 medical illness, and then another 87 medical trauma. And then the rest of the calls kind of sprinkled in below that for hazardous situations and public assist and law enforcement support, and then a lot of false calls, false alarms, CO, gas, and other. Still trying to get our codes figured out for nearest. So we switched from NFIRS, which we've been on for the 22 years that I've been at Metro. And so the nearest codes, although I think national standards feel like that's going to be more beneficial and more in layman's terms, for us, we've found it to be a little bit difficult in trying to fit into their canned approach for some of these codes. So we're working through that in the new reporting software, and yeah, we'll see where that goes. But that obviously started January 1st as a requirement to report to nearest, and NFIRS is no longer a thing. So in other news in Metro, our applications for the 3 full-time hires that we're going to put on in July close on Sunday. And very happy to report we had 23 applicants for full-time.
Oh, nice.
And I will tell you, the last several times we opened full-time applicants over the last 5 years, it's been maybe 4 on a good hiring process and 8 on the highest that we've had. So to have that many applicants for fire EMT for us is fantastic, because I know a lot of the other departments in the area are really struggling with that right now to fill positions. So that's fantastic. We test on April 29th for the physical ability testing and the written, and hopefully all 23 of those candidates will pass and go to the interview process. Our ladder truck is in progress on the line at Pierce Manufacturing in Wisconsin. The cab is nearing completion. The chassis is underway. They pushed us back about a week, so we're looking at a early June inspection of that, and then a delivery probably mid to late June. Lieutenant Klute says he hopes it's here for the Cherry Festival parade, so I hope it's here just to replace the truck that needs to be replaced. Other good news, I wrote a couple grants over the past 2 months, one to Firehouse Subs Foundation, for $39,000 for extrication equipment. We got approval of award last week on that, which is fantastic. So all new extrication equipment coming for one of our rescues. And then also a $34,000 grant for new AEDs from the Cosgrove Foundation. So that was great to come back from spring break and get a couple grant awards, just short of $80,000 in notice in those. So that is all I really have, other than we're going to work over the next couple of days, hopefully, to mitigate some of the issues with the flooding and make sure that people are safe and evacuated if need be, and work with the road commission to make sure that our responses aren't hampered too much. So are there any questions for me?
Any questions for Tony?
Thanks, Tony.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Planning Department monthly report for April.
In writing.
In writing. I'm sorry, it should be in your packet. So if you have any questions, reach out to the Planning Department. Parks and Rec.
Good evening, Sean Kehoe, Garfield Township Parks. You all have a copy of the report, so I'm not going to read it word for word for you. I'll just update you on a few things. Silver Lake Recreation Area, the pre-construction meeting was held this week for the pickleball courts, and everything seems to be online with that. They want to start at the end of April, and they have a target date of having it done by July 4th. So everything seems to be going good with that. We've been in contact with the irrigation company on that, so hopefully there won't be any hiccups. I was out there today, and I see they already got it. They've already started staking the sidewalk up to that area, so we're moving forward with that. We're going to block off the north end of the parking lot, just so that there's room for trucks and construction equipment and so forth up there. So, so we'll take care of that. The Commons, I had a phone call today from one of the instructors at Greenspire, and she sounds like they want to be. She wants their kids to take. What would be a good way to put it? Wants to have some worth in the commons there, so she wants to be assigned different tasks throughout the school year where they can actually have some skin in the game there, since they're probably one of the bigger users of the commons. And that would include everything from maybe some light erosion control to tree planting to covering up graffiti, that sort of thing. So Derek and I are going to talk about that tomorrow when he gets back, and we'll be in touch with that lady, so that's good. River East playground was packed today. Obviously a nice day in the 60s, so that's already starting. And then we've been in contact with the contractor to oversee the east side of the large dog park this spring, and then put everybody back in the west side. I was talking to a dog park user today, and he said he was very skeptical when the park went in that two dog parks with two large dog parks with having one closed for grass to grow and one being used, and then flip-flopping them next year. He didn't think that was going to work, and he said today he's very pleased to see how well the grass is growing in the one that we had open last year. So it seems to be working, so that's good.
Surprised we knew what we were doing.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. So, but next dog park we have, they're going to have heated sidewalks, because I was tired of shoveling this year. And then we're looking forward to some new construction down there this summer. From what I'm told from Jennifer, the RFPs are due by the end of April, so hopefully we can get moving down there on that. The trails below River East, down from the main dog park and playground area, obviously completely flooded and nobody's using them. They can go down to about the first bridge, and that's about it sounds like. So Boardman Valley, same way. Obviously you were in there the other day, and it's completely flooded almost right up to the Y. So the good news is the pickleball court nets are in, so if anybody wants to try and play on stand-up paddle boards, now's your time. So you can take your chances at that. Let's see, Kids Creek and Buffalo Ridge, the trees are looking good over there. We're going to do another autumn olive clear towards the north side as the year goes on with the same contractor we had last year. And that's about it. So, do you have any questions for me?
I just saw some more recent aerial footage from the chief over here, and the water's up to the Y building now. It's actually flooding the building, it looks like
Yeah,
now.
the soccer field looks like a lake.
Yeah.
So,
The Y, Logan's Landing Y building.
More like a river. There's a flow going through it.
Yeah, it's a bad
it might be the
situation.
only time you catch a trout on a pickleball court. So, I mean, are those considered gill nets now or what? I mean, this is my old, my old area of expertise, So, yeah, I'm gonna check them out though. So, anybody leave these up here?
All right. Any kind of questions for Sean?
Any questions?
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.
Yep.
Thanks. Clerk's report?
Did you- wait,
I'm sorry,
They did declare a state of emergency for the next 7 days.
for where?
From the flooding, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
For where?
State did? Oh, Algernon, okay.
You need to say that in the microphone so people can hear what
Yeah.
was just said.
And just, a state of emergency has officially been declared for the flooding on the Boardman River. Is that accurate? Okay,
for the next 7 days?
okay,
Okay.
for the next 7 days.
Good news, though.
Thanks for that update.
I submitted my, I'm sorry, go ahead. I submitted my clerk's report in writing. Are there any questions on that? We have started our go live on our software update, BSNA Cloud. It's going. I wish it could go a little better, but it's going. We're getting it done and working through some kinks.
All right, any questions for the clerk? Thank you. Yes, not without bumps in the road, it sounds like, with MT, or BNSA, but hopefully they'll get that straightened out.
They're working on it.
Yeah.
We're getting it done.
All right, Chris, Township Manager's Report.
All right, I put in your packet just a bullet point of the topics that I'm going to hit on. I attended the NER Advisory Committee meeting a few weeks ago, or about a week ago, and topics of discussion for GT Conservation District of note were they're working on a Boy Scout staircase, the Beitner Road construction project, which will start this year. They're going to basically close off Beitner Road. They're going to redo the bridge there at the crossing. And you're not going to be able to access the parks on the north side and the south side from Beitner Road anymore. You're going to have to access the north side from the roundabout at River Road. And then there's a private road that runs off of, I believe, River Road west. And I think it's Seabrook. You're going to have to connect onto that road and then an access road to the south side of the park. So that's going to be a pretty big construction project that's going to be starting this year. They're working on redoing their overlooks and their footbridges. The new bridge that was put in last fall, Molon, their contractor, is going to start improving the approaches on both ends, and they expect that to last about 4 weeks. They don't have an exact date of when it's going to be finished for the public to use it. And in your packet, I just included minutes from the last quarter meeting that I attended and some trail counter reports that they provided just for information. So I included that with my report as well. I attended a meeting with the 911 director. Apparently Grand Traverse County is considering amending their county street and road naming ordinance. They want to potentially change the membership in the appeals board and also the enforcement entity of that ordinance, which is currently the sheriff department. So I appreciate the county commissioners wanting to reach out to the municipalities as stakeholders to have us be part of that process and get some input from us. So met with him a few weeks back. Red Drive, we are meeting with stakeholders. Greenspire, Northwest Ed, we met a couple, the principal or superintendent from Northwest Ed and Greenspire we met with a couple weeks ago. And then recently the supervisor and our planning director met with Raymond Minervini and the city engineer regarding just their input. Our plan is to have a total meeting with everybody because we couldn't coordinate one with everybody's schedules and spring break, and put in front of them everybody's wish lists. We also are looking to work with our engineer on what improvements would look like, what those would cost, whether it's keeping the dirt road, whether it's making it non-motorized, whether it's putting asphalt on it, and then coming back to this board, laying it in front of you. Here's the problem, here's what the community would like to see, and here are the costs. How should we proceed? So we look to do that in the very near future. And right now, Red Drive is not a road. It's a piece of property that happens to have a farm drive through it. So it's in rough shape. It still remains closed, and I anticipate keeping it closed until we can sort out what the plan is with it. So.
Quick question on Red Drive, Chris, and the groups getting together to talk about that. Are you including the Botanic Gardens and Historic Barnes Park? There's a lot of interaction there.
We included like Matt Cowell, but we didn't include anybody from those particular entities. But I don't think he's familiar with them enough as tries to advocate for the whole group. Is what I feel. And I'll specifically, we're in contact a lot. I'll ask him if he feels like somebody from there should be at the next meeting, which we're perfectly fine. We're not trying to exclude anybody, but we're trying to be efficient with the meetings and the conversation.
What was your feel on that? Did you feel like Greenspire and Minervini's other people want that open if they can, or they don't really care about it?
It's all mixed. Everybody has their own priority. Northwest Ed would prefer the area of Red Drive that we own that has the parking area. That improved because that's all they really use. Greenspire, their parents drop off their kids, come up Brown Drive, drop them off, head down Red Drive to Silver, back out to Silver Lake. Raymond Minervini, he likes the access that's there for everybody. If we were to shut that down, then everybody's going to be putting traffic more into the commons. So there's a lot to this situation, and we need all the groups to kind of maybe be willing to flex and meet people in the middle at the ending solution. Is kind of what we're hoping for. So, but I think at the end of the day, we just want to have everybody the board informed when we make a final decision.
And to add a little bit to that, with the call we had today was with the city or was it yesterday? Yesterday, I lose track of days. But there's definitely a mix on whether it should be opened up or not. But we'll probably rely more on is the Joint Rec Authority Master Plan, or Joint Planning Commission Master Plan for the Commons. And that identifies that as really a very, very low impact road, and combination road and walking trail. So it's a mixed use between walking and motorized is in the master plan, which would indicate you probably wouldn't pave it, and you would probably just, so the question is, do you improve it to where it would become a thoroughfare, or do you make it non-motorized only? In that master plan, it also calls, if you're familiar with that area, for what's called Purple Drive, a new drive that would cut in from Silver up to Red, right on the north edge of the North Ed building. That would create a loop, and that's actually in the master plan as a anticipated road to be put in there. And that is actually a Class H, what they call a Class H road, which is a high volume road. So, but then it comes to the question, who's going to put that in, who's going to pay for it. So the Minervini group representing that, their concern was the additional traffic on their roads. But Red Drive simply isn't a road, and it's just in the condition of it today shows you what it's not a simple fix. So.
Imagine what it looks like after the rain, too.
Yeah, it might not be a problem today. It might be gone today. Who knows? You never know. So, all right. Thanks, Chris. Go ahead.
So we had a meeting scheduled with the road commission manager today and had to get canceled, and we're hoping to connect later this week. But things on the agenda to talk about are the Olson's Development Road, the speed studies that are out there still. There's 3 of them. The Rouge Road improvement, Zimmerman Road extension, McCrae Hill Road has been explained to be, or I've had a couple people contact me how rough that's in. and it is in rough shape. So they reached out to express their concerns, and they also talked to the road commission manager about that. So he's going to, he went out there, I think it was last week, to assess it, and then I was hoping to talk to him about it when we met today, but it didn't happen. Cass Road, South Airport Road, we were going to talk about that, but I think the supervisor is going to talk about the sewer break there and update the board. And then one other thing not on my report is, with this flooding, I've been in contact with the CEO of the Y, and he has closed down that whole operation until further notice, notified all their members, put barricades up, which is a good thing. I just want to make sure that people weren't, being our building, going back there, getting hurt and stuff. So I'll stay in contact with him, and then also the manager of the road commission. If Garfield is greater impact by this flooding, what can we do to help out? So I'll just stay in touch with him.
So on the Y, if it floods out and it's full of mud and all that, it's our building, do we have to clean it, or the Y is cleaning it?
So my understanding is the lease is they have to do the maintenance on it, and I would assume that cleanup, I was thinking about that today, because that parking lot's gonna be a mess. Like Supervisor Korn said, it's basically it's like the river is coming through the parking lot.
Yeah.
It's just flowing stuff. We actually talked to the health department, environmental health too, because they were concerned about the outhouse that was by the pickleball courts. Apparently that's not been used. I was worried about it flooding and solids floating off, and so that's a non-issue. And then also their wellhead, if that was to be underwater, because the water there is more than a foot deep through the whole parking lot pretty much. And fortunately that well is on the west side, and that remains to be dry. So they recommended that because of all of the water, that the Y consider testing the water before the members drink it, but it's not required, just a recommendation to be proactive. So that's all I have.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. This whole flooding thing is all evolving as we speak, so the repercussions from some of that are obviously yet unknown. So, okay, supervisor report, several things to touch on tonight. We did have I participated in a septic treatment plant master planning session. We're trying to look at the septic treatment plant and talk to all the county townships and anticipate future growth and future needs. Does that plant need to be upgraded? Is it adequate the way it is? Do we need to build a new one or a second one? A lot of discussion around the septic treatment plant from a master planning standpoint. I did attend, as Commissioner Flynn said, a county meeting last week in support of East Bay's TIF request for the corridor on east side, and sounds like there may not be a TIF, but some sort of a mutual tax sharing agreement to still help support that, but not through an actual TIF. From a county standpoint as well, we do have our second small group meeting scheduled in May to follow up and continue discussions around the BPW and the structure and governance of the BPW. So that second small group meeting is scheduled in May. As Chris said, the sewer break at Cass and South Airport, I think you're all aware, I think we talked about it at our last meeting. And so we had a hope that corner lot recently sold, that there would be an opportunity to maybe reroute our sewer main through that lot. But after meeting with the owner, and the road commission was involved in that as well, a couple of things, they have some real issues with that lot from the survey doesn't meet what's recorded. They don't know exactly how big the lot is. They don't know how much room they have and what they can do with it. So we just don't have probably 6 months to a year to try to negotiate some sort of easement there or lease. So we'll be moving forward with just preparing that 40-foot section of clay pipe where it's at, not being able to relocate it, but fix it there. In addition to that, the road commission is actually pursuing an easement from that same landowner to relocate their new controls for that new traffic signal to that location, which has complicated it. So we felt that for the time, we don't have time to wait on that to get that septic break fixed. So more to come on that. But we are meeting with BPW and the engineer on Thursday morning before the BPW meeting to move forward with that, which really takes us to, Chris mentioned the road commission. What one of the hangups is there's fear from an Elmer standpoint and a BPW standpoint that if we dig out to repair that 40-foot main, that the mast arm that's there would not stay up, that it might fall. And the difference between being able to repair it as it is now and repair it and have to remove the mast arm is more than double the cost. Okay, removing the mast arm would cost more than the repair of the sewer main. So we're trying to figure out if there's a way they can secure that mast arm somehow, boom trucks, guy wire, something to ensure it'll stay up, and then get the repair done, get out of there and leave it in place. So that's what we're working toward right now. Lots of moving parts on that particular intersection. And now with the road being closed, it might be safer for them to work there. There won't be any traffic going through there for a while, but that's a little different subject. Chris and I met with Jason Allen this morning. He's a USDA rep in our area from National USDA, and spoke the Opportunity Zone with him, got some more information about that. Great program. We have 3 areas in our township that are identified as part of that Opportunity Zone. And so in the near future, you'll be seeing a resolution proposed to this board. The next step is to really get the governor to identify us as a designated zone in that program, and then it'll move. Then at that point, once we're designated, we could solicit developments in that area that could take advantage of that grant money. Some pretty substantial money. Jason's pretty excited about this program, and we're fortunate enough to have 3 areas in our township that qualify.
Are they talking new construction? Or are they talking existing and adding on, or?
All of the above, redevelopment, new construction, redevelopment. There seems to be priority given to food processing, food development, maybe things along those lines, but housing as well is important. So there's a lot of opportunities there, and Jason was pretty excited. So we've actually got another meeting scheduled with him in 2 weeks to follow up and get more information on that program. So that was a meeting we had today. We met with the sheriff department today in really looking at future needs for the township for 2027. We're really starting to plan for 2027, looking at some opportunities for what more do we need or can do with the sheriff's department with our partnership with them. So will be something probably more mid-year, July, August, that we'd probably come with something we'd include it in the budget process, but at least for discussion, talk about. Okay. And just a reminder, MTA conference starts registration Monday. Well, some classes on Monday as well. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. If you are registered and are going, make sure you get online, pick out your classes you want to go to. You don't have to register for them, but at least look at them. There's a lot of them to offer. I got a couple extra copies of the brochure here if you need one of those. It's just everything kind of one page. I can make more copies of that as well. And then I think you were emailed this as to us, right, Chris? Did you email out everybody that registered for the conference?
But it'll be in their emails by the end of the night.
All right. And then the last thing, Chris has volunteered, if nobody else does, to bear our new flag in the flag parade of flags. So if anybody would really love to do it, I'm sure Chris could be easily persuaded to not do it.
I think our manager should.
But I'll be a team player.
Yeah. So I did last year. It was a lot of fun, actually. But we were just talking. I hope we have our new flag in time for the parade of flags, and we do. So it's Chris, unless somebody just wants to bump him out and take it over. So that is all I had. Quite a bit of stuff to cover. Any questions for me? Okay. Thank you. We will move on to unfinished business. A discussion on Angel Care Child Care, the Grand Traverse Band 2% Grant Award reassignment proposal. So, Chris, I think your hand on this one, aren't you?
So I included in your packet a cover letter kind of explaining the situation. It looks like Angel Care Child Care is dissolving their organization, and they're working with the tribe on reassigning that grant award. And from what I can tell, is an organization named Teddy Bear Daycare and Preschool will provide the childcare at the Church of the Living God, is where the current Angel Care Childcare works out of. But it will be the Church of the Living God who, it's proposed, will actually carry out the scope of the grant, which was to improve playground equipment at that location. So the tribal council would like input from this board. Are you okay with that arrangement? So I would just like to hear what you think and then convey that back to the tribe for their consideration of the proposal.
Is this in the same location?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so it's just a different management.
Just in, Church of the Living God will actually
Okay.
put in the playground.
When a grant was provided to one person, they can't just pass it on. They have to
Right, I get it.
go through all the.
I just didn't see that it
I
was.
think to add to that, the Angel Care, the folks have done the legwork and worked with the tribe getting it all approved, but since this was the board that approved the original grant application, they just wanted, Chris and I could have said, yeah, you're good to go, but we wanted to bring it to you, back to the board, just make sure everybody's okay with that. Really not a motion. Does anybody have a problem, I guess, with us just letting them move forward with that?
Absolutely not.
Just a question.
Yeah.
Anybody know anything about Teddy Bear Daycare or preschool before we say, yeah, they're gonna be taking over a project?
They have a private operation now, I think in Long Lake Township, that's been in place for quite a while. So
Good. There's a
they have a
history.
sustainable model, which is very attractive in these days.
Yeah, yeah, good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, then,
And then it's going to be run by, or kind of coordinated by the church, right?
The church,
Or administered?
it's their facility where the daycare will be ran out of, but they're going to coordinate all the improvements related to the grant.
Okay. So the church will be involved in that as well.
Teddy Bear Daycare's been in business for a lot of years.
Yeah.
There's somewhere else in
Yeah.
town too, I remember seeing.
So,
It's down
we-
Eighth Street.
yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's it.
So we're ready to move forward. We just wanted to just straw poll the board, make sure nobody had any issues with it, and we'll give them the green light to move forward with that. So,
No issues. I have none.
I'm okay.
Everybody's nodding.
yep, we're good.
You okay with that?
I'm okay.
All right. Anything else on that, Chris? Is that about it?
No, that's all I need to know.
All right, next item under unfinished business, discussion on the township ethics policy. I think it's yours again, Chris.
Yes. So, make sure you get on my. So the Ethics Committee has been working on our current ethics policy and comparing it to other ethics policies of varying organizations, trying to determine if ours should be updated, does it meet the latest standards? And so the work was put in, and you were provided with some updates that are in red, or should be. I know it seems like a couple weeks ago when this was in your packet, you couldn't see the red. Is everybody seeing the red?
Yes.
Okay, so the red would be the additions, and the parts that are Xed out, crossed out would be the parts that we'd want to omit. And it's not a ton of updates, but we wanted to bring this back to you to have discussion and get your feedback on our proposed updates and the policy as a whole. Also, I have learned through this process is that there's an appeals process that some policies out there have. And try to figure out how to explain this the best. You know, some of them have it to where the complainant of the ethics violation can appeal a decision made by an investigative panel. So if the panel had chosen, to take no action, the complainant could appeal that to somebody to see if that could get reversed. I've also noticed that some policies, even our current one, does not have an appeal process. Basically, whatever the process is determined at the end, that's how it plays out. There is no appeal. And then also I've seen some where, the person who is being complained about, before potential discipline is issued, that person can request a hearing in front of a panel and offer evidence and testimony for a committee to consider what they have to say. when determining the total outcome. So they have a way to sway the outcome of the, their investigation. So I've seen it all different ways. And I think what we're looking for is just some conversation to see what this board would like to do. You know, if you wanted an appeals process, it could be having the town board. The members of the town board who aren't on the appeals committee, or the ethics committee, could then weigh in as a part of due process and a second step in reviewing the situation. So that, I mean, that's a way that it could be done. But we're just looking for feedback.
Molly?
I have some other, did we address anywhere in here about discussion? We talked about voting. You can be excused from voting, but what's the rule on sitting up here? You know, my husband's a builder. If the township wanted to hire a builder, that's an obvious conflict for me. But can I be part of the discussion on that and then not vote? You know, we've done it both ways where we've had people have to go back down and sit someplace besides at this board. We should have that spelled out, however you want to
I
do
think
it.
it's in number 3, Molly, under disclosure of conflicts of interest, actual and potential,
Is that perceived
where
conflict?
it says a perceived
Yep.
conflict of interest.
Right. So read it through and it says about the voting. It doesn't say
Shall be excused from voting.
from voting.
But do they
But
stay
what
up
about
here?
discussion?
Uh,
Have to
You
do
know,
some
and do you
research on
stay-
that part.
Do you stay sitting here
I see what you're
or
saying.
do you, you know,
Yeah, I can only speak from the years on the planning commission. We always, if somebody identified a conflict of interest, we had them leave and sit in the audience while it was discussed. They could comment if it was a public hearing, but they didn't participate in discussion. But that's just how we handled it at the planning commission. On the town board, I don't ever recall anybody having a conflict that had to abstain. Well, you did on the
I did on
road
Red
project,
Ranch,
didn't you? That's right, you did on the.
but we should spell out,
Yep.
just
Yeah, it's a
so
good
everybody
thing. We need
knows
to-
what the rules are.
I left the room when they discussed my subdivision
Right.
Did you?
for
Okay.
resurfacing the entrance.
Yeah,
So that's, to Molly's point, it should be written.
Yeah, should be written in it.
write it in there somewhere.
Okay.
Good point. Good catch.
Well, what do we want? Do we want people to have to leave, or do we want them to be able to stay?
Well, you want to talk about it with your ethics committee and see what they want to do, but, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, people can stay and listen to the discussion, but I'm not sure that they ought to be a part of that discussion.
I agree.
I'd be concerned if you force somebody to leave the room, you could be violating an Opens Meeting Act.
Right.
Because if other people from that same subdivision, let's say if it were a special assessment district, they can come out and listen to the discussion. So I would say we might want them to leave the panel and go to the audience, but I don't think we'd want to take the step to make them leave the room, myself.
They could stay here and not be a part of the discussion. I don't think they should try
Right.
to sway the board either way if they have a conflict.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they shouldn't be.
Right.
I
Cannot
don't know what the
participate.
rest of the,
That's what I did when we had the road.
So we certainly can clarify it in there.
Certainly,
It's a good catch.
Move to the audience.
Yeah, I'll
like
just look
the
at
idea
it.
of move to the audience.
Yeah, like
Get
Joe,
away from here
Right.
and go there.
like Joe says, you don't want to make them kick them out of the room.
No,
You can't. I don't
Yeah.
think
I don't think you
at all.
can. I wouldn't want to take that. I wouldn't want to
You're
take that
just a
step.
resident
We had to
then.
kick you out.
Yep, you're a resident and they have the right to
Close the
speak
meeting.
at public
Yeah,
comment.
if you choose to leave, that's fine, but, okay, good.
But they also have the right to speak at public comment.
If it's a public
If
hearing.
it's-
If
there's
there is a public
if there's
hearing.
a public hearing.
Yeah.
If it's during a public hearing.
Yep.
But it might just be on hiring somebody, or it might be
Right.
on
Right, it could be something.
that kind of stuff.
Any other questions?
What about the appeals process then? How do we want to?
Is there an enforcement mechanism? What would you be appealing if there's a decision to say somebody's naughty?
Yeah, like for instance, somebody had a conflict and actually like hired their brother to do work and didn't disclose it. And I learned about that as a coworker and wanted to file a complaint for the ethics committee to look at it.
Yeah.
The ethics committee investigates it and says, you know what, they won't do it again, we're just going to let it go. So the person who brought the complaint forward could say, I don't agree with that, appeals board, I think that's wrong, and I think you need to do something. So that could happen.
So the person who's doing a hiring would be an administrative function, not a board function. With the exception would be the clerk and the treasurer, and they have free hand to hire whoever they want. So there is no.
I think he's talking about contractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, the person who's hiring the contractor would be our township manager or a department head as opposed to a member of the board.
But we can still have a
Covers
policy.
employees as well.
Yeah, this is,
Yeah, that's.
For the whole township.
for the whole
It's for all employees and
Everybody.
board.
every public
You're
servant.
saying, what's my penalty if I am found to be,
If
if I've
yeah.
committed a violation of this ethics policy, what happens to me?
Correct.
I see what you're saying. You get a finger wag.
I've had a few of those.
We could sanction
I
like they do.
think publicly flogged.
Well, you could have to determine if you're going to like involve the state police, if it's like something
Like embezzlement or
stealing,
something, yeah.
right? You could, the ethics committee could have to decide if they're going to do a further investigation that involves not just the township, or if they have to involve an attorney, they could decide if they're going to reach out and get attorney for that.
Good.
But like the ethics committee could say, we're not going to do anything, I guess is what you're saying, but then you could appeal that and say, well, no, I want you guys to actually take action to
Correct.
do something above and beyond.
So what I'm getting, and this is my opinion, we take it to the ethics board for ethics committee first. And if they don't like our decision, why couldn't they take it to the board itself? Because we're the governing body,
I mean, they could, it's just not in writing in our current
Right,
policy.
right.
Right, they could.
Go ahead, Molly.
Just a little conversation on that. If we bring it to the board, then it has to be in an open meeting. So, I don't know if you can request, if you're an offender, can you request that it not be in an open meeting? It's not a hiring and firing situation.
But it might be a disciplinary.
Disciplinary.
Yeah.
You could just say, I don't want that in front of everybody.
So the
person that-
closed session can be a performance review. So I don't know that an ethics investigation is a performance review.
It could.
So I don't think that you
could
could
be.
do it in closed session.
I'd be leery about having it
Be the
open
whole-
before the board on behalf of the offender more than something
It's
else.
more than likely, I would anticipate the ethics committee will contain one or two members of the board. Maybe the appeals committee is a non-quorum group of the same board. Maybe it's three members of the board that aren't on the ethics committee. And then it's not an open meeting worry that way. That might be a good way to handle it. I like keeping it at the board level. I think ultimately it's our responsibility. But maybe it's, once we figure out what the ethics committee looks like, I'm anticipating probably two members of the board on that committee, and then maybe three other members of the board could be the appeals committee.
So right now, that would be Lori and I and Chris, that's on the ethics committee. But then if they want to appeal our decision, you could go to Laney, Chloe, Chuck for that,
Right.
whatever. Whoever's not on the ethics committee.
And I guess, again, I kind of put it in a perspective as well. This is hopefully a policy that's rarely or even hopefully never used.
Right,
This
right.
is for an ethics violation, so it's not something we're going to do every day. And I can't even remember the last time it would have even been put in place. Maybe recently with one of our employees, but but it's good to have it tight and have it in place if we need it.
Exactly,
So,
exactly.
be the way I would look at it.
I think we'll just meet again and then bring back what we discussed to the town board. And
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I'll get with you guys and we'll
Make
schedule.
those changes, let's write in that review, that appeals group in that way and bring it back for more discussion.
And address Molly's point about
Yeah.
Leaving,
where are you
not
going?
How
discussing.
much can you talk about as a person who's possible?
Yep. Do you feel there should be an appeals process for both individuals, the one who might be the complainant and the recipient of a complaint?
Yeah, I
Sure,
think
yeah.
it should, because you have to have both sides of the story. You know, because if it goes to 3 other people on the board, they're only gonna know one side of the story.
Right.
So they need both sides of the story.
And then one other quick question is, the way it's set up now is the ethics committee is the one who does the investigating and makes the determination and carries out a disposition. Now, obviously, if it involves, like somebody's employment, whether, our recommendation is they get terminated, that would come back to the board. But if it's something where we're recommending that we counsel the employee and document it in the personnel file, normally you wouldn't bring that back to the board for any action.
Right.
Does that sound correct, how you want that handled? Or do you want everything to come back to the board for?
Not everything. I mean,
Okay.
some things are simply administrative
Okay,
functions.
yep.
So there's 3 of us on the ethics committee.
Right.
What if the person committing the ethics violation is a member of the ethics committee?
Then the supervisor would appoint somebody else.
Or I could.
Or you could
Or
be
if
on
he
it.
jumps
yeah.
in. That would be very sad.
Yeah.
Or the supervisor is a member
You never
of every
know.
committee.
It could happen.
Yeah, the supervisor is a member of every committee, like Molly said too. so it
Ex
could
facto I
happen.
am. I may not be one
Okay.
of the sitting, but I'm on every committee by default. so.
Right.
What if it's you?
Well, if it's me, you never know.
Well, then it comes back to the last boss.
As I said earlier, hopefully we'll never come
Right.
to use this
Ex
thing.
parte member.
I guess we'll try to cover every scenario
Yeah.
the best we
That's,
can.
I agree with Lori. If it's against one of us that's on the ethics committee, then he should sit in that place.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we addressed that in the,
I
when
thought we did.
I thought we did too.
Yeah, I think it's in there that if there's a conflict with one of the members, then they gotta recuse themselves and somebody else's.
Step in.
Yeah. Okay. You got enough to work with then, Chris?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions for Chris before we move on? Good work on it. We'll keep going until we get this thing done. Moving on, new business, consideration of authorizing participation in joint representation agreement for the Charter Communication franchise renewal negotiations, Resolution 2026-10-T.
This is where we get
You take
money
it, or you-
from.
Well, I can, I guess. We met with all of the municipalities that were interested in the franchise contracts are up, I believe, in 2027.
Yep.
And so we're taking the approach of, I wouldn't use the term class action, but all getting together and using one attorney and negotiating with Charter on the new franchise, or all the, not just Charter, but anybody on the franchise agreements. And then the legal fees for that would be shared equally based on your contribution to that. And this is just a resolution agreeing to participate in that. And of course, the legal fees would come out of those franchise fees, I believe. So
I think what'll happen is we'll get a bill for the.
we'll get a bill.
Yeah, for the services of the attorney. Yep, separate than the fees.
So we didn't, just as a rough number, I think we had one of the neighboring townships said their bill the last time was around $3,800. I don't know if you remember what it cost the last time we negotiated fees. But certainly is something we want to participate in, so this is just our agreement that we'll share in the legal fees of this. They've hired a firm that specializes in negotiating these franchise fees.
Everybody ends up getting the same anyway.
Yes.
That's the goal.
Yeah, whatever percentage is negotiated, whatever fees are negotiated, everybody will get the same.
It's the number of subscribers in your municipality that determines the amount.
So you need that in the motions here.
I don't, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Last time, I don't think, we hired a specialist who dealt in that, and essentially, nothing changed. I mean, just, it's like, well, this is all the law lets you do. End of the day, we're
He seemed to think he was going to be able to negotiate a little higher fees this time around, but I'm not sure. I think the rate might go up, but because there's fewer users of cable all the time, the fees ultimately end up coming down anyway, I believe. Because you're starting to see a lot more streaming, less people that have cable, your direct cable TV, so there's kind of an offsetting balance there. But there's still money to be had and participation is, I think, important. So.
Any idea how much money we,
Like I say, we talked to East Bay today and just asked them if they knew, because they're kind of spearheading this. And they said theirs the last time was negotiated, it was like $3,800. But I'm going to guess, $5,000 maybe, something along those lines. It's just that's just a spitball guess.
For the franchise fees?
No, for the
No.
legal fees.
Legal
to
fees to get
negotiate.
them
Legal fees,
negotiated.
oh, okay, yeah.
how much do we bring in? I mean, is it worth even?
Yeah, it's a lot, yeah, it's 5%. What did that one, so,
Oops, sorry.
the last quarter we got in, from October 1st to December 31st, 2025, the franchise fee base was over $1 million, and we got 5% of it,
Oh, yeah.
which was $51,000.
Then it's
So
definitely.
well
worth
worth it.
That was
visiting
one quarter.
somebody, Yeah,
that was one quarter.
Yeah,
That's
so,
well worth
no,
it.
it's definitely worth participating in.
yeah.
And so,
I'd like to make a motion that the proposed amendment for the
resolution.
joint representation agreement for the Charter Communications franchise renewal negotiations, Resolution 2026-10-T be approved.
Support.
Motion made and supported to approve Resolution 2026-10-T, which is a joint representation agreement for Charter Communication franchise renewal negotiations. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none. Ann, can we have a roll call on that, please?
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Lapp.
Yes.
Augustinelli.
Yes,
McCumber.
Yes.
Horn.
Yes.
Ellen McManus.
Yes.
And Jay McManus.
Yes, thank you. All right. The last item under new business is consideration of amendment to the Planning Commission bylaws, and it starts on page 96 in your packet. Chris, you probably are more up to speed on this than me. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the planning commission had conversation about their bylaws, and there was discussion on some items that just needed to be updated. And our planning director's letter is pretty clear on what is it that they would like to change. And the recommended motion is listed at the bottom.
It's pretty mainly housekeeping, a couple of changes. Molly, I don't know if you had any comments on this.
yeah, we can't, we have these huge packets, and they often don't get delivered in a week. So we can't meet what's in our bylaws, so we have to change it. And essentially, people need to come and pick them up. They're really too big to put on a little computer, they're big things, and so that's mostly what we're talking about here.
Okay. All right.
I make a motion that the proposed amendment for the Planning Commission bylaws is attached to Planning Department Report 2026-57 be adopted.
Support.
All right, motion made and supported that the proposed amendments to the Planning Commission bylaws be approved as presented. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Takes us to our second and final public comment. I will open up public comment. I don't see a lot of public that hasn't already spoken. but-
Just run right up there.
But since nobody has run up to the microphone, we'll close public comment, bring it back to the board. Any other business to come before the board this evening?
Stay safe.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna go.
avoid South Airport Road?
Boys out there.
How in the hell am I gonna get that?
Yeah, so, hearing no other business come before the board, we stand adjourned.